planning on changing the world just like me. You could be the chairwoman and I'll be the trustee. Let me give all to your benefit. Then I'll get blessed out my deficit.
Hey, good morning, everyone. This is Tangiel Johnson, your host with Your Corporate IQ.
And I'm your co-host, Lachez Solage.
Lachez. You know what time it is, girl. Is
Yes,
the
I
makeup
do.
ready? Is the makeup ready?
Yes, yes,
Hair done?
yes, it is.
Pearls on?
Yep, check. There it
Okay,
is.
all right. Then people, get the theme music cued. For all the listeners in the words of Q-Tip, high, low, or even open toe, put your heels on, baby.
That's right.
Lachez.
That's right. That's right. Let's
So
go.
excited. I'm so excited about our guest today. The way this chick, and I did say chick, the way this chick moves in corporate embodies Les Brown's quote, life has no limits except the ones you make. Okay? And so before I introduce her, let me go ahead and give our disclaimer. Our disclaimer basically states that the views expressed by your corporate IQ and their guests are our own and they do not reflect any company or organization. And so, with that said, I want to thank you all for joining your Corporate IQ podcast, where we will discuss the pearls and the perils of corporate America with a lens from the people of color's experience. And today's segment is on how to get the most out of your corporate experience. And with our very special guest, who made me go ahead and put my glasses on and get my diamonds ready, is Dr. Carlene Caldwell. I wish I had the applause ready. I want everybody to give her thank you so much, Lachez. Yes, Dr. Carlene Caldwell is a highly accomplished and versatile professional holding a Doctor of Psychology degree in organizational leadership psychology. And she has an amazing background in education and talent management. She has made a significant impact in various industries, including education, healthcare, finance, transportation, and technology. And with that said, welcome, Carlene.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate you having me here today.
Excited. We're
Wonderful.
excited.
We're so
I'm
excited.
thrilled.
So excited. What
I
an
can't
intro
wait to dive
also.
in. I know, right?
What an
Like, what
what
she talking
amazing.
about? Oh, that's me.
You did all of that. You did all of that. That's you.
Yes, and I'm tired. I am tired.
So we're so excited to hear about all the fantastic things that you're doing, all the work that you're doing. Um, let's get into it. We're going to go right into the questions. You ready?
I'm ready.
Awesome. So start off by sharing with us your journey as an HR generalist to talent management. So kind of that time, that transition. You started out just to give us the context. I know that was quite some time ago, but just to give us that context in HR and that journey there.
Wow. Okay, so you really want me to date myself, but that's okay. That's okay. You know, I'm quite proud of the time I have put in because it doesn't happen overnight. So when I started in human resources, it wasn't even called human resources. I was a personnel assistant. That was back in the day, way back in the day. So that's how I started, and I did the personnel assistant thing for several years, which was kind of like the generalist, the support role. And then, one thing I have learned is, oh, your career doesn't always have to go in a straight line. And it's sometimes good if it doesn't. If we veer off, take a right turn, then go to the left and then come back to center, there are many paths to a destination. And
That's right.
whatever your path is to reach your goal, hey, it's made you all the better. So, in lieu of my time as a personnel assistant when I first started, I got married and I moved overseas. I moved to San Pedro Sula,
Nice.
Honduras. And that's how I jumped into education. I was English speaking, had a college degree. I had nothing else to do with my time. I had a child at that time. She was in first grade. And, they were, have you taught? And I said, no, but I can. And I started teaching at an international school. So I taught there for about 2 years and I found I
Wow.
really enjoyed it. I like teaching. I found that I preferred how should I say it, a more mature age group. But yet and still, I enjoy being in the classroom. And then I came back to the States. I taught for a little while in the public school system, but ultimately I went back into corporate and I went back. By that time, we were now HR professionals, and I jumped back into the role of recruitment.
Oh,
And that is a great way. I mean, you really get to work with leaders. You get to hear about what the needs are of the organization, how I can help fill those needs. So I did recruiting for quite some time. Quite some time. Matter of fact, that is how I came across both of you as we
that's
were
right.
working in an environment together, both as recruiters. And from that, I transitioned into university relations, and then from there, I started doing more OD type work and assessments. Decided to go back to school, get my doctorate degree. While I was working on my doctorate, I got an opportunity to start teaching as I was working on that doctorate. So I got back into the teaching realm, finished that up, and then came back into corporate. So that's the short version of the long path and the detours that I made. But ultimately, that's how I got to where I am right now today.
Wow, what's interesting about that? I learned something new. You mentioned that we both know you, we've worked with you, but I did not
Mhm.
know that you lived in Honduras. And like, so it's always great to hear
Yes.
about the journey, so you understand where it began and where the excitement about education started. And so that was a learn from me. I didn't even know that about your experience. What an amazing experience to teach internationally. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was an experience. And it was, and one thing that taught me, it was really eye-opening. And I like to think nothing we do, no experience we have is wasted. You may not understand the why at the moment, but in time it will reveal itself. God reveals all things at some time in our lives. And I didn't understand at the moment what in the world. I've gone from right to left. How did I get here? But that experience was really eye opening. And it taught me that we oftentimes here in the US are on an island. We are so siloed and we cannot see beyond where we are. So that definitely broadened my
Mm,
perspective. I got the ability to have interactions and learn of a different culture, exposure to a different language. And I never would have done that had I not had the opportunity to go overseas and teach for a few years. And, it helps now to what I'm doing, that broadened perspective. Once you see, you can't unsee. And
right.
that's
That's it.
really me. So it
Wonderful.
was,
That's a great pro. Once you see, you can't unsee. That's something I've said over
oh,
and over again. I can't believe you say it too.
yes, it's true. It's true.
Yes. So of course, you have your bachelor's degree, you have a master's
Yep.
degree, and a
Yes.
doctorate, right?
Yes. Yes,
Share
ma'am.
share how you've used your education as a tool to help you in your career.
Oh, wow. Okay. So in corporate America, especially as a woman of color, I'm just going to be quite frank. Sometimes or oftentimes we have to do more and get less. But where others may not have to bring as much to the table, you best believe that we often have to go above and beyond. So
Hmm.
it was very important for me to make sure I'm a strong believer in education, but just to be able to get my foot in the door places where I wanted to be and be considered for roles that I knew I was qualified for, I had to have
Mm,
some letters behind my name. So it was essential to at least have that bachelor's degree. As I started advancing my career and wanting to take on different levels of opportunities, you would find that they put criteria in place. So
hmm.
certain opportunities are not open if you don't have a master's. And I
Hmm.
have always been the one where you're not going to put a limit on me and what I can do, especially if it's one that I can knock out the way. That was a barrier I could easily overachieve. I could easily achieve. And most organizations pay if not all, they pay a portion for you to go back and get continuing education. So if you want to get that master's degree, that bachelor's degree, a certification, take advantage of it. If they're paying and you can do it on their dime, then by all means. So I went back and got a master's degree. So that opened up the opportunity. So no more could I hear, well, you have to have this in order to be considered for that. So
I know
that's how
that's
I
right.
got my master's. And same vein led me to a doctorate degree. So when I was working for a transportation company, I started doing more OD level work as far as assessments. And I really enjoyed it. I really, really did. And I never, ever thought I would get a doctorate degree. Matter of fact, your host here was someone who told me, yes, you are. You go get that doctor. I said, you crazy. You are absolutely crazy. I am not. You know how much work that is? I'm not doing that. And she said, yes, you are. Yes,
Angie,
you are.
weigh in, please. Weigh in,
Oh, wait,
please.
wait. I don't remember how we started talking about this, but Carlene, you know how Google pops up a picture from the past,
Oh, no.
8 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever it is. Up pops a picture of you sitting in a black chair with a red dress on. And that was the day we had the conversation. I said,
Yeah.
you look like a doctor.
Wow.
Sit here and let me take your picture. And I have proof.
Wow.
I have proof. Yes.
That is how it's. And I'm telling you, I was like, you have got to be kidding me. No way. But what happened in that role, I really enjoyed it. And I will say I was really good at it. But I had reached a point in my career where I couldn't go any further with that organization unless I was willing to pack up and move overseas. And,
Hmm.
I had husband, young kids, and that just wasn't something that I was going to be able to do. So I started thinking about, well, if I want to continue growing in this role, if I want to do something outside, what do people look for? What do you have to have?
Hmm.
And what I noticed was I had the work experience, I had the knowledge and expertise, but to do that level work at other organizations required a doctorate degree. And I didn't
Mm.
have that. And that was like, oh gosh, but I love what I'm doing, but I'm hemmed in to be able to do it further or expand without that piece of paper, without that knowledge. So
Mhm.
that's what led me to go back and get my doctorate degree. It was hard leaving that organization because I love what I was doing. But if you've maxed out and there is nowhere to go, what's keeping you?
Right.
Why stay? So it was worth the investment in me. And
Yes.
fortunately, I realize not everybody may be able to do that, but fortunately, I have a husband who was able to step up, step in, and where we went from a two-income household that he was able to carry the load for a while I worked on my degree. And I have to say that's probably one of the best decisions I have ever made because the opportunities that open up from that knowledge and that expertise and those letters in front of or behind my name is priceless. Where Carlene Caldwell might not have been able to get a meeting, Dr. Caldwell, people are holding their breath or phones ringing off the hook to know when can we speak. What are your thoughts on this? So
Awesome. There's so much
take this.
about that I really like. So many pearls from there, so many to take from just the couple of things that you said there. Just understanding how to use the resources that a corporation provides. So if it's education reimbursement,
Yes.
so much navigation here. You understood what was required. So, hey, what are my next steps and what's
Hmm.
required actually to get to
Hmm.
those next things? You understood that. So that's navigation. And then again, utilizing the tools,
Yeah.
making or allowing a company to support you, sponsor you for the next thing that you're going to do. So that was another
Hmm.
pearl, fantastic thing that you did. And then looking at the results, it was absolutely worthwhile. It opened up the door. Everything that you thought would be
Hmm.
ended up being what the case was, and it opened up so
Hmm.
many doors for you. So just so many pearls. But I also love that you mentioned the the context or the situation at home that allowed you to do it, because
Yeah.
you were honest about that, and I think that's a big part of what folks need to hear. Right? You were in a situation where you were able to do that, so everyone has to assess
Hmm.
that for themselves as well.
Yes, that's true. I mean, and I went to school with people who were doing both the doctorate degree and still working full time. So it's possible. I mean, I went to school with people who did it. They completed the program. They were in my cohort, It can be done. I just knew the work that I was doing at that organization was so demanding. And I knew a
Hmm.
doctorate program was going to be equally demanding. I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to succeed at both for the time allotted to finish the program. So I sat down with my husband, we talked about it, and we made some challenge. We made moves, however we had to make them, and fortunately, we were able to make it work. So I don't want to discourage anyone if that is something that a goal for you, if that's something that you're considering doing, you have an organization that will put money behind you doing that. By all means, take
Yes,
advantage of it. Take advantage of it. If and it's important. If there's something we want to do, we find a way to do it. You know,
that's right.
don't skimp on yourself. If you want to find a way to get that new outfit for the party that's happening next week, for the Tom's on a cruise or whatever,
Yes.
you want tickets to go here, to go there, we find a way. Whether we
That's
got to
right.
cut back on this so we can do that, or we got to move some things around, find a new babysitter for the kids. Same thing for ourselves. Invest in us. We are worth it. So
Hmm.
just, find a way to make it work.
I got
Hey,
something to
yeah.
say.
Weigh
I'm
in,
sorry.
weigh in.
I'm sorry. But because, of course, Carlene's in my network and a close personal friend and a previous coworker, I can truly say that once she made the step to invest in herself, I made a step to invest in myself. And then there was another person that both of us talked to that made an investment in himself. And yet another person right behind her. So we had behind her trailed three other people of color who went back to school to finish up what they started, and now we're all degreed. So kudos to you, Dr. Caldwell, for paving the way.
Proud
Wow,
of
wow.
you.
It's infectious, right? It's infectious. It's like you inspired others in your space and then look at what you've done, not only for yourself but for others. It's really
Mhm.
amazing. Really amazing.
Yeah.
Um, you've talked a little bit about how you've been intentional in your corporate career, but talk to us about some of the other things that you've done in terms of optimizing that corporate experience and perhaps the benefits, things that you've done that helped you to move into something else, but you understood the opportunity to utilize those resources.
So I'm gonna lay it out. We're gonna be perfect. We're gonna put our honesty hats on here. So the way I look at this, when I go into an organization, and I think this applies for just about anybody who is working in some type of corporate environment, it's a contract. It's an agreement. And when you sign your name on the dotted line of that offer letter, you are agreeing in exchange for this compensation, whether it is weekly, bi-weekly, or once a month, that you will then work on said work and or projects that they deem are important for that role. Now, the trade-off is you may not be quite as enthused about all the projects that you have to work on. Some of them might really like, okay, I enjoy this. This is great. I can sink my teeth into this. And the others like, I really don't care. I don't want to do this work. Oh my gosh. But you signed the contract. You are taking the money, so you have to do the work. Now, you're doing the work, but why not find ways to do more of what you enjoy? And most people are looking to grow their careers. Even if you don't want to move up a leadership pipeline, you don't want to be a manager, a director, or a VP, most people want to grow where you are. You want to become a subject matter expert. Well, how
Yes.
do you go about doing that? What can you do to put yourself in place to get that knowledge and the skills to be able to do those things? What I have
Hmm.
found in my career is you find the soft spots. You find the areas that you enjoy where the organization might be weak. For example,
Yes.
I mentioned I did university relations in one of my previous roles. How that came about, I was working as a recruiter, but I really at that time wanted to be more involved with, okay, well, how can we get talent? And we've got all of these different colleges and universities around us, and we don't have any relationships built. And personally speaking, we had several HBCUs. For listeners who may not know what that acronym stands for, historically Black colleges and universities. And I
Yes.
really wanted to build a relationship and had be able to get some of that talent in those HBCUs into the organization. It was a weak spot. We didn't have it. So
Mm-hmm.
I then wrote out, a proposal. I made a suggestion and the pros and this is why we need to be doing this. This is what it's costing us for not doing this. This is how it can improve our leadership pipeline. And, played on the whole baby boomer retiring and we've got to get ready now. We've got to build up that talent pipeline. I found the underbelly and they agreed. You're right. That means now you got to be ready to do the work. And thankfully I was. But that's usually a good place to start is you find those weaknesses. Where is the organization weak? And what is it you can do to help make them stronger? That may be maybe getting a certification, taking a class, building a whole new department. I mean, I love to do that too, building out a whole new thing that they don't have. But it's a
Yes.
great way for you not only to show your value, but to grow and develop all at the same time. It's a win-win. I'm
Yes.
helping you, you helping me. And I have
Yes.
yet to see it fail. I have yet.
That's
Yes.
awesome. There's so much navigation and strategy in what you said. So first understanding that the contract, I love that. So this
Yeah.
is a if you choose to look at it this way, it's a mutually beneficial contract also, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you sign the contract, there's projects and things that this corporation wants you to fulfill. So that's how they're utilizing you as that resource. But you utilize them as a resource as well, right? What do I want to get out of this contract for the time that I am here? And so you
Yep.
understood that. So what
Yes.
you did though, which was really effective, is building mutually beneficial business cases
Yes.
to allow the corporation to sponsor you for things that you need, right?
Exactly.
But you have to provide that business case. These corporations aren't going to just support you and pay for you to do things just out of the kindness of their heart back to that contract, right? You
Exactly.
have to build that business case where it's mutually beneficial for them, back to you being a resource and how does that help them and that organization. So it
Mm-hmm.
was effective that you did that. And again, you've been able to use the assessments and the training and development that they sponsored you for and use it. You take that with you. That's for you. And you use it somewhere
Exactly.
else. Wonderful. Tangia,
Exactly.
weigh in, weigh in.
Yes. You see, I got my pen up. I'm writing down notes, but I had to just jump in right here. So you've said it again and again. Right after Carlene has said it, and the word is build. Carlene is a builder, which she knows. I've told her this for years, and so in order to be able to do some of the things that she's done, as you stated, Lachez, you have to understand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And build the strategy. So I'd like to hear from Carlene. What happens if you're not a builder? I'm not a
Mm.
builder. So yeah,
Mm.
Carlene, we've talked about this building and the yin and the yang. Talk about if you're not a builder.
Well, but you don't necessarily have to be a builder. I enjoy the build. I enjoy the creation.
Me
But
too.
can you see the problem? If you can see the problem, I'm sure you can at least think of a solution. And what do you need in order to help create a solution? So maybe it's not you building it. Maybe you're
Right.
getting the knowledge and you can bring people together. You can bring together different resources. And it's important for everyone to
Yes.
keep in mind, all your listeners, this is going to go with you. So when I was building up my assessment skill set, the organization trained me to be able to facilitate a particular assessment. Well, I then decided, well, you know what? It would be great if we also could offer this tool. It would be great if we could also offer this, which now meant I had to now go and get additional certifications. When I left, where do you think those certifications went? They came with me.
That's
They are
right.
of me. And now when I go somewhere else, whether it's to a new organization or if I decide to start my own, because you might have some entrepreneurs out in the audience, these certifications, this knowledge that I have gained that my company was kind enough to equip me with. But as you pointed out, Lachez, it is because it was a mutual agreement. We
That's right.
benefited each other. So they got the benefit of me having that knowledge while I was there. But when I go, it stays with me. Those certifications, all of that information that I gained, it comes with me. So you don't necessarily have to be the one to build, but you can put people and resources in place to get things done. I think, what was it, Henry Ford or somebody, I want to say it was Henry Ford, who made the statement that, my job is to oversee this operation. He's not necessarily doing this, doing that, doing everything that's required, but I can bring the people together and make sure that everything is getting done. So just know enough to be dangerous. That's
Yes.
all you really need, just to be dangerous. It's a
And
lot of
furthermore,
Ooh,
preparation.
really, Tangiel is the networker, right? You don't have to be the builder, right? She puts together the resource. You don't have to be a builder. Not everyone is. Everyone has their purpose. They serve that function. She's a
Exactly.
fantastic networker and someone that's able to put together um, the entire team to get things accomplished. So you
Exactly.
have the builders. I'm a builder like yourself. But you have Tangiel that's so effective at putting together the resources to execute on all of that work. So it goes
Exactly.
hand in hand. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, and that is why we work so well together.
Yeah.
Because and I really appreciate you spelling that out, because there are people like me that we do see the patterns and we discover the problems and we
Hmm.
have solutions, but sometimes our solutions aren't that practical, and maybe one or two out of five might work, but that's when we got to take it to a builder who has that vision to go out into the desert, do the litmus test and say, okay, it needs to go this way. I
Yes.
can do that, but it might take me a whole year to figure it out. I want to encourage all these listeners, if you are not the Carlene the builder, okay, then be Tangiel the problem solver and find yourself a Carlene the builder.
Yes.
That's really what I'm trying to say. Thank you,
Everybody
Carlene.
has a strength. I'm not detailed. I'm definitely not the networker. Tangiel owns that, and she is amazing at it. But somebody might be really good with details. That's also a place where I don't live there. I don't live there. But if it is, play off of that strength you have. We all
That's
have
right.
gifts. And the best gift you can give yourself is to build on and play off of the strengths you have rather than trying to be something you're not. There are people out there that can bring other resources that aren't your muscle. You build and play on your muscle, and everything else will fall into place. You can build that network, you can build that program, bring other people into it.
I love that. I'm going to say one more thing and then I'm going to go into my next question. But I love the idea that a person is not all things. I think
Mm-hmm.
a lot of these spaces, there's too much of a requirement. Hey, you're perfect in every single area, and it's not realistic. Everyone has their skill set. Everyone has that place where they shine, and you need to walk into that. You don't need to be perfect in every area.
Yes.
That's not realistic, and no one's perfect. So I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. What are you the most proud of in the work that you've done? And that could be in your total career. What are you most proud of?
Oh, that's a tough question. I guess I could say one the things that I am most proud of in the organizations that I have been a part of, whether it is academic or a corporate environment, I have built things. I have left them better than when I have found them.
Yes.
The transportation company, building that assessment program, building a university relations program that still continues today. Uh, succession planning, not having something like that in place. The college where I teach, uh, going through the program, which was amazing. One thing that I noticed and that I was able to point out to some of the professors and faculty when I finished the program is this was great, but everything we learned, everything we read, the majority of it came from white male professors, white male psychologists. There is no diversity of thought. And we are preparing practitioners to go out into the field and help solve human problems when we have not given them even the diversity lens or tools to do that. So even at the college, I was able to create an inclusive leadership concentration. So now that diversity that was missing when I went through it doesn't have to be there. It's not there for students coming through the program now. It's definitely more inclusive, more diverse. So that really makes me proud that every place I have landed, I have been able to help build, create, and leave them better than when I found them.
Yes. Yes. Oh my
Excellent.
goodness. I love that. Oh my God. We're two builders. That's what I love too. I love to build things like, hey, you had nothing when I got here, and then you have all of this. It's fantastic, fantastic
Yes,
work. That's something to be proud of. And if you've done it
yes,
over and over again, it's spectacular. If you've had the space and the time and the ability to build time and time again and have a
yes.
legacy to leave behind you at more than one organization or institution, that's fantastic.
Yes.
Um, and then finally, what do you wish someone would have shared with you early in your career? Like when you
Mm,
look back, wow, I wish someone would have told me this.
wow. I wish someone earlier in my career would have said what I mentioned earlier at the beginning of this conversation. There are many paths to a destination.
Mm,
I started my journey thinking I had to go down this straight line, and to veer off of it would be to deter my career. And that's not the case. Sometimes to go up, you got to go out.
mm-hmm.
There is nothing wrong with taking a pause to build you. It is no set time frame. A lot of the things I have done, it required me to go back and get some additional knowledge. And, how do I do that? So, and fortunately enough, I've been able to find ways to do that so that the organization felt I was a good investment. We will invest in you to get this knowledge so that you can come
Mm-hmm.
back and help us. But I didn't realize in the beginning that there's no straight path, and the time limit is only what I set in my mind, that I don't
Right.
have to hurry up. Okay, I got to be here within 2 years, or I got to be here within three. Who said? Who's clocking my
Right.
own? Who's clocking my? Oh, really? So that's information I wish somebody had says, girl, slow down, and it's okay. Go to the right,
Yes.
go to the left. You're going to get back to where you need to be, and you're going to learn a whole lot as you veer off to the right and as you veer off to the left.
You know what? I love
Yes.
this because I think that's the trappings for all of us, right? I think
Mhm.
that, early in your career, or if you, the idea of success is so finite for us. Like, okay,
Yeah.
success is you're looking at someone that's had a completely linear career, and then you feel less than if your career is
Mm-hmm.
not linear, right? There's
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be a hierarchy that you're supposed to reach, and it's supposed to be, X, Y, and Z, and it's supposed to be perfect. I love that you're saying that it doesn't have to be linear.
Mm-hmm.
What I love about this is that it's yours to create. It's
Yes.
yours to curate, right?
Yeah.
Success is what you built and what you wanted and achieving the goals that you set for yourself, not someone else. An
Mm-hmm.
organization can't set that for you. A leader can't set that for you. You set that for yourself, and you find
Exactly.
success in what you've built and what your goals were in achieving those. That's what success
Amen.
can be if you let it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Pearls.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Well, with that, that's all the questions I have. I'm so excited to hear about your journey. Thank you so much for sharing all of your experiences with our listeners. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. It's been a joy, and I appreciate you having me. I hope I get a chance to come back.
Oh, you hope you get the chance? Hello. The expectation is for all our listeners and Dr. Carlene Caldwell, you will be back. If not once, two, and maybe three times more.
Look forward to it. Look forward to it.
Awesome. And remember to the audience, since you're listening, please stay tuned for more episodes with your Corporate IQ podcast. We're interested in hearing from you, so send us your topics, your suggestions, your comments to
Yes.
info@yourcorporateiq.com. Like us and engage with us on your Corporate IQ Instagram and LinkedIn. We'd love to build an online community. Thank you again, Dr. Carlene Caldwell. We love you. We
Oh,
We
love
love
you
you.
guys.
Thank you so much.